ఆహార విధానంలో మార్పులు చేసుకుంటే 6 నెలల్లో ఆరోగ్యం శక్తిమంతంగా మారుతుందని ఆహార ఆరోగ్య నిపుణులు, స్వతంత్ర శాస్త్రవేత్త, కృషిరత్న డాక్టర్ ఖాదర్ వలి తెలిపారు. సహజంగా పండించిన ఆహార పదార్థాలు, చిరుధాన్యాలతో వంటలు చేసుకోవాలని సూచించారు. రైతు నేస్తం ఫౌండేషన్ నిర్వహణలో అక్టోబర్ 16న హైదరాబాద్ షామీర్పేట్లోని నియోవటేజ్ ఇన్నోవేషన్స్ ప్రైవేట్ లిమిటెడ్లో జరిగిన సిరిధాన్యాలతో సంపూర్ణ ఆరోగ్యం సదస్సులో ఖాదర్ వలి పాల్గొన్నారు. సిరిధాన్యాలు, ఆకుల కషాయాలతో కలిగే ఆరోగ్య ప్రయోజనాలను వివరించారు. రైతు నేస్తం ఫౌండేషన్ చైర్మన్ డాక్టర్ యడ్లపల్లి వెంకటేశ్వరరావు ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్గొన్నారు.
90% of the planet is occupied by C4 grasses, whose genetic genomic content is very heavy, 4 to 5 times more than the C3 grasses, because they are able to inherently outbeat the need of water and make grains even if there is just 2-3 rains on this planet. So that means 90% of the planet can be a food bowl if only we were to use the C4 grasses as our food materials. So very cleverly these so-called green revolution experts use the word saying, hey, these are coarse grains, this is food for pigs, food for animals, food for birds. Then all of a sudden, all over the world, human race was eating millets. And for your kind information, the first domesticated grass on this planet is millet. Millet actually is a group term, that there are 6,000 to 8,000 C4 grasses, out of which 200 grains are formed out of these grasses are called millets because they are very small in nature, less than millimeter, many of them. And we, in our India, from time immemorial, we used to call these grains Chudra Dhanya because we couldn't even see the grains. So Bhuta Preta made this happen. All of a sudden you see wonderful green meadows rising up without notice. So they said these grasses are Chudra Dhanya. Then other group of grains coming from these C4 grasses were very small in quantity. They called Kirudhanya, Chirudhanya. And then some of them were so much in quantity, they said Trunadhanya. Yakkada padte akkada kanipistunnayi. Wherever you see it is there. So what is the use? Throw them away. There's Trunadhanya. So this is the history of these grains all over the world, not just in India alone. And of course, if you were to know the history of the planet, we were all actually together, we slowly got separated into because of tectonic plates. So it's not like that. And the present day so-called experts, oh, from Mexico we got green chili. From America we got this. From Africa every human beings came in. All this bullshit. Everything was there everywhere. That's as simple as that. It's only a cyclic nature, things are happening. Okay? So fundamental axioms that you are all operating on is this Western thought process of, oh, humans, gatherers and hunters. So the moment he is born, he started hunting and eating. How beautiful. Huh? He couldn't even catch a rat. Now if the so-called best athlete in the world, I will put him in a ground and I will leave a rat or a rabbit. Let him catch it. It took thousands and thousands and thousands of years for human beings to develop the skill of hunting or even gathering. We were so stupid, we didn't know that there is a tuber under the ground. So what all he could eat is the grass that was available as he walked. And that's how the real, natural, instinctive food was millets for human beings. And if someone has any more doubts, we could sit outside and discuss. So the problem with the present human race is that we all think and believe what these Westerners said is true. It's absolutely untrue. So our food was not meat. Our food was not that you were hunting and the arrow came later. Who said earth is rotating around sun? Who said? Who said earth is rotating around sun? Copernicus? Aryabhatta. See, sad story is that even today the whole world believes Copernicus said heliocentric, earth-centric to heliocentric. And that fellow was hounded. Copernicus was hounded. And he had to say, no, no, no. Earth is the center of the universe. Then only he was spared. So, these are the axioms that which you are based on and your knowledge is built upon. Am I making some sense? So, it's high time we started thinking freely. So, the food that you are eating, the whole world is eating on monoculture. The whole human race is eating rice, wheat and sugar. I can't believe it. Now, we all think it is our food. Oh, మా తాత తింటున్నాడు, మేము తింటున్నాం. నీ తాత తినేది 150 సంవత్సరాల క్రితమే తిండి. లక్షల సంవత్సరాలు మీ తాతలు కాదు, ముత్తాతలు కాదు, ముత్తాతలు అందరూ తినింది ఈ ధాన్యమే. And now anthropological studies are clearly weighing out that these are the real grains that human race ate, not now, 150 years, 200 years, 300 years. And even now the experts are fishing out or dishing out saying that these grains existed in Varaha Swami time. Now there is one Varaha Purana which says Varaha Swami ate Priyangu Payasa. And then they date, carbon dating, 8,000 years. Does these guys know really that it is 8,000 years? The carbon dating techniques themselves are going through hell a lot of change. The same carbon dating experts who said it was 3,000 years ago, now they do the experiment and then say, oh, no, it is 18,000 years ago. So these so-called scientific conclusions that you are all basing upon are themselves in air. So science is not the ultimate. It is just rotating ourselves. Like when sun rises, we still say sun rises. Does sun rise every day morning? He doesn't rise. We are rotating. And when sun is rising, when you see the orange color sun, you can see him through your eyes directly. The moment he becomes white, you cannot. Because our eyes are not designed to see an origin of light. But then, we are all watching from these stupid phones to tablets and computers. All origin of light. That itself is the most unscientific thing the whole human race is doing. We cannot design a simple technique of projecting the thing and then work. No, we are not. We are giving this stupid phone to small kids and kids are hooked to it for hours together. And how do we expect their eyes health to be all right? And we parade ourselves as we are scientists, we are doing this, we are good. I see someone who said, Chandra, that one night your machines, the best machines cannot stand. So all these things, we are pumping ourselves, thinking that we are doing science, and we are absolutely unscientific. So the rice that you produce, the wheat that you produce, the sugar you produced, you started eating it, lo and behold, within 3 months, out of 100 people who ate rice, wheat and sugar, became diabetic. 3%, 4%. Because the sugar, the glucose, that has to be released slowly and steadily into your bloodstream is no control when you eat rice, wheat and sugar. Sugar, within 3-4 minutes, releases glucose into your bloodstream. And it's glucose, which is the main concentration of your blood, decides your homeostasis. That means the blood has to be thin enough to be pumped by the heart, which reaches each and every cell on your body. So if this doesn't happen, you have begun the diseased condition. And after that, each and every cell that produces carbon dioxide has to be collected, brought back to lungs so that you exhale. So it's to make the blood run through the whole gamut of blood vessels and then collect the toxic morbid waste every second and supply it to an organ where it is cleaned up depending upon what morbid waste you have, and supply the nutrients to each and every cell wherever it is necessary, in whatever form it is necessary. This is the story of your blood being thin and homeostatic. And what decides the thickness and thinness of the blood is the main concentration of glucose. That means if it is beyond 5 to 6 grams in your blood, that means 1 gram per liter is the concentration that is maintaining the HbA1c approximately between 5 and 6 or up to 7, okay, granted. So if it goes beyond that, I mean you are creating hell a lot of pressure on your heart, which then finds it difficult, then you have one after the other problems appearing. So till today, no expert says don't eat rice and wheat and sugar because it is the sole reason for disturbing the homeostasis of the blood. Am I right? But then when you go to doctor saying that I have BP, I have diabetes, I have thyroid, what does he do? Does any doctor on this planet tell you don't eat rice, wheat and sugar? No. Instead he says take this tablet. How long? Are we scientific? That rice, wheat, sugar cause disturbance in the homeostasis of the blood. That we are creating glucose imbalance in our bloodstream. Am I making sense? So if we are scientific, if these doctors, all whatever, pharmacology, all big, huge industry is built up, why is there not a single paper on this? Why? Because it's business. It's not science. So, simple deductive logic says that if you change your food, now in quotes food is rice, wheat, sugar and its byproducts, artificially generating milk, artificially generating eggs, because in its true sense naturally you can't get milk. Cows give milk to whom? You give milk to your baby, isn't it? The women give milk to their babies. So why are we taking the milk of the cows and putting in our kids' mouth? Is there any sense? Is there any science? But then we have written in our science books, milk is complete food. Milk gives calcium. Do you absorb calcium from the animal milk in your body? No. We have no enzyme to facilitate this. Unless lactobacillus come and convert that stupid milk to curds, then you can absorb some calcium. So mother's milk gets switched off in the breast by 2.5-3 years as the baby's tummy loses its capacity to digest milk, because that gene is switched off. So why the hell are we producing milk? Tons and tons, not tons and tons. Dairy industry is like $1 trillion business. So early morning everyone says, oh, I cannot start my life without a cup of coffee. No, I cannot start. My engine doesn't move further if I don't have second cup of coffee. Caffeine is an alkaloid which forms dopamine kicks and then you are addicted. Nicotine is addictive. And now our 3 heroes are advertising. Shah Rukh Khan, Akshay Khan. They are selling gutkas. Not one hero, 3 heroes are needed. And we are producing 138 lakh tons of sugar. Now as we speak, Kaveri and Tamil Nadu are fighting. That is my water, my water. What do they do with the water? They grow sugar cane. And what do they do with sugar cane? Molasses. On top of it, have a sugar. Behind they are producing tons and tons of liquor. So we pride ourselves, we are doing scientific work. 138 lakh tons of sugar, everyone is dumping into their mouths early morning. Go to North India, that Gujarati fellows, they say kadi and then they take sweet. Gulab jamun, jalebi, rasagulla, pusagulla. You go to America, what donuts, walnuts, what nuts, I don't know what all they. And all that excess glucose is converted to glycogen and meat, and then you start putting on weight. Oh, no problem, it is obesity. Can we be more stupid than this? So what do the experts say? All at a sudden this nutrition, dietitians started appearing. Health, lifestyle coaches it seems. They lie down in the couch and eat potato chips. How stupid can we be? So the simple answer was don't eat rice, wheat and sugar, that's all. So what do we eat? We were eating for lakhs of years what we were supposed to eat. And these experts came, green revolution, white revolution, blue revolution, tadrupi fish. They are going to make carbon copies of fish. They want you to put the fish into the ice cream and then eat. This is what is happening. If you say, oh, we want to solve the problem of food security, you are not providing any food, you are providing all junk. We have 8% of the kids type 1 diabetes, 8% are ADHD, 8% have hole in the heart, 12% Vikalangulu, physically handicapped kids, 8% are irritable. They don't know why they are irritable. What did I tell you? How much number? 8, 8, 8, 8, 12. 32 plus 12. 44% of the kids are dysfunctional. Am I right? So we cannot produce functional kids properly. Forget about producing functional or dysfunctional. America, Europe, Italy, there are no Italians born. Japanese are making robots to take care of their elders. That means the sperm is getting contaminated and the sperm health is gone. Forget about sperm health. Sperms are not there. 20 million for the human race average count, which was 150 million in 1950. And we are not putting 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. It's all because of what you ate in the last 80 years that has given away this result. And experts after experts making all kinds of surveys. So the obvious logical conclusion is what we are eating is not food that fits this mouth to anus hardware. And if we cannot make this conclusion yet, I don't know how long will it take to this stupid mind to understand. Depositing on your hemoglobin, it is HbA1c, and that's called diabetes. So what is the problem? Is diabetes the problem? Is angina pectoris problem? Is rheumatism problem? Is a thyroid problem? They are not the problems. The problem is the same, sugar. So the doctors are naming it. Sugar in eyes is glaucoma, sugar is in your joints is rheumatism, sugar is in heart is angina pectoris, sugar in the blood is diabetes. But in its true sense, there is only one disease. You are fooled. Am I right or wrong? So, where is the solution? Stop eating rice, wheat and sugar. As simple as that. And that's what we did. But then these companies have eliminated the seeds of these grains also from the planet. In fact, Corallo is called foxtail millet, is in fact known as Italian millet. Italians are eating all through their lives, time immemorial, this grain. Little millet is known as African millet. Brown top millet is known as American millet. Kodo millet is known as Chinese or Himalayan millet. All in that, including India down and that side, this side, Afghanistan, everyone. And all these references are there with Guru Nanak eating only Kodo roti. And then if you go back in the history, the Varaha Swami Puranam, foxtail millet is mentioned. Srinivasa Puranam, little millet is mentioned. Ramayana, barnyard millet is mentioned. And recent historical events like Chhatrapati Shivaji or Bahubali, not your, the real Bahubali, Mahavira, Tirthankara, they all eat Kodo millet, brown top millet. So not that we have no references, not that we have no knowledge. It's all, no Indian scientist also talks about these things. See how blip of this 100 years of the so-called modern day science has taken away the brains of the human race. When I, 86, 87, I finished my PhD from University of Science, Bangalore. In fact, I entered the halls of University of Science asking this question, why are we eating rice, wheat, sugar? The biochemist did not answer my question. From 1982, I have been harboring this question. Because the ultimate product of biodigestion, not only in humans, everyone, is glucose. So if you pump in glucose itself in the first place, whole biochemical sequence of the events will get screwed up, as simple as that. So I'm harping on this one point, that glucose is the final product, why are we dumping in the front? And that is the source of all our problem, because that is the highest concentration of any biochemical material in our bloodstream. Not only in our bloodstream, every mammalian bloodstream. Am I right? That means all other biochemicals are all in smaller quantity. So if you cannot take care of the concentration of the highest dissolved chemical, which is actually source of your life in your body, because it is the burning of glucose that gives you ATP in each and every living cell with the help of mitochondria. And that's where the diseases originate in its energy form. If we want to talk, it is the oxidative stress of burning glucose that gives carbon dioxide. If I just press your mouth and nose for 3 minutes, what will happen to you? You will die. Carbon dioxide is to be eliminated through lungs, otherwise you will not live. That means the absolute energy provider of ATP biochemical reaction is also producing the most toxic morbid waste in your each and every cell. Am I right? So unless you eliminate that toxic morbid waste, you cannot live. What it means is that every biochemical process creates this oxidative stress, which is EMF, electron motive force. Unless you remove that EMF, if not, the EMF will turn into radical, and radical will become free radical will become either oxygen superoxide radical or nitrogen radical or sulfur radical, whichever is electronegative atom that it hangs upon. And that starts working as damaging the function of the organelle. That becomes dysfunctional organ. And this is how disease is originated. So where is the source of the disease? It is the EMF, which is the toxic morbid waste in its true form as energy. So what can mop up this EMF is the millets fiber, which is basically lignans, the most beautiful wide range PMF antioxidants that can be provided. And that's how millets, eating millets, can wipe out all the diseases in your body. So the accumulated fat, meat can be dissolved by the fibers of few of these wonderful grains. We have done that work. Kodo millet, the fiber dissolves all the fat. Little millet fiber helps your genital organs. That means your fibroid or breast tumors or endometriosis or ovary, PCOD, all these genital organs connected. And in the men, sperm count being less and there is no sperm at all, azoospermia, all this modern day men's problem, bald head at the age of 20, 25, because bald head is connected to your sperm health. So all these issues can be wiped out if you start eating little millet. And barnyard millet actually is associated with the health of your soft parts like your brain, your liver, your pancreas, your endocrine systems. Little millet, half and half. Foxtail millet with your lungs and nerve systems. Kodo millet with your bone marrow, bone strength and blood immunity, like that. So now you have these 5 grains which I have had enough time to work out. There may be many more. So 2 days each these millets you start eating for a period of not 3 months, 6 months, maybe 2 years, your diseases are wiped out. And that's what we have found. So you can wipe out all the diseases, all the so-called modern day diseases, because they are arising not because you have no medicines to heal them. No medicine can heal you. They can only manage you. You want healing? Come to your food. So what are we doing? What are we doing? We eat wrong food, generate diseases, and go to hospital. What do you get there? You get tablets. Of course, pharma companies are experts in creating tablets, so you keep creating tablets, no problem, just keep taking tablets. Are you getting health? No. Don't get me wrong, this is what is happening. You want health, where do you go? You need to go to kitchen, not to the hospital. Simple. We have found that right. We have eliminated type 1, we have eliminated type 2, we have, now we have 4 kinds of diabetes. Gestational diabetes, juvenile diabetes, type 2 diabetes, now dementia, the brain, Alzheimer's, all are again, they are calling this type 4 diabetes. So why do we do this hangama? Because we are in business. We are not talking science. If you were to talk science in its true sense, we can eliminate the disease. And that should have been the hallmark of a true science. The fact that we are not finding diseases go away, the fact that we are finding more and more diseased people is in itself proof of what I am talking. Can we be healthy? Health in its true sense is when you eliminate EMF at the mitochondrial site, keeping your mitochondria young and healthy. And that doesn't happen when you eat your food. That means you are not eating the right food. So I have been trying to actually define what food should be for future generations. And of course, in between this, diet fads come and go. Oh, you eat only vegetables. Oh, don't eat salt. Don't eat oil. Without oil. All this humbug. Without oil, your endocrine system doesn't work. But they're made of fat material. So you got to give right fat to the body when it is growing up. Not only when it is growing up. After growing up, every living cell has to be replenished because it dies. The blood cell dies within 3 months. So next 3 months you need to produce more blood. The same way your skin, within 3 days it can regenerate. Your bones take 6 weeks to 12 weeks. Then your neurons take 7 years. Your nephrons take 7 years. So each and every particular part of our body has a particular God-given time zone for its existence. That means after 7 years, your kidney is not the same kidney as it was 7 years ago. In fact, as a whole human body, we are not the same as I was 8 years or 9 years ago. I am different. Each and every living cell in my body is different. So we are regenerating, replenishing everything again and again. So now here is a route where I can repair the damaged system, the diseased system. If only I produce the right material to replenish and regenerate the lost cell. Am I right? Making sense? Or am I talking nonsense? So if I can give the right material, so we can even reverse the so-called mentally retarded kids. Because the neurons, if I can replace while they are getting ready, because the genetic mapping is there. It is just that it is not read it properly and the wrong thing is produced. Can we do that? Was that an experiment which we did. In fact, we took 8 to 10 mentally retarded kids and started feeding the right oils. Niger seed oil, coconut oil, groundnut oil, and the local oils, whatever you grow there in large quantities. Only way is to make them in the bull-driven ghanis. Because if you press the oil seeds in a machine, RPM is high, you are actually disturbing the STP rule of physical world. That is standard temperature and pressure. You can vary either pressure or temperature. The example is you go to Himalayas, the oxygen doesn't stick onto your lungs. The biochemical reaction of oxygen coming into your lungs and then getting exchanged with the blood, carbon dioxide coming out, and the oxygen being carried to living cells happens only at a particular pressure. Am I right? So now if I take you to submarine and under the ocean, your lungs will collapse if I expose to you the pressure down there. Am I right? So that means your cooking food should not be under high pressure. Either you increase the pressure and don't heat, or you heat, don't increase the pressure. So to extract the oils also should have the same principle, standard temperature and pressure. It is called STP or NTP, normal temperature and pressure. So when you produce the oils, when the bull rotates around the axle and then you have ghani, the rotation is half rotation per minute or maximum 2 rotations per minute. So only the pressure is increasing, and we make sure you have a wooden ghani, because wood doesn't conduct. Why? Because the electrons of the aromatic lignin is rotating all the time, negating the EMF every second. That means including the heat energy is negated in a wooden stuff. And it is the same precursor of lignin which is available in the millet fiber, and nowhere else it is available on this planet for you. So the greens, the vegetables, all that are immature fiber which does not have this specific wonderful quality of the wood or lignans, which is available in the millet fiber. Am I making sense? So when you make the oils that way, the oils do not lose its basic nutritional qualities. For example, I'll give you the groundnut oil has got a chemical called resveratrol. If you are a pharma industry, you must be knowing about that. Resveratrol is one of the most beautiful phenolic compound which actually is anti-inflammatory, anti-aging, antibacterial, antifungal, you name it, anti-cancerous also. That chemical is present in large quantities in the groundnut, that pink layer that we throw and then eat other things. So if you press in the bull driven, the ghani, the groundnuts, you get that oil fully loaded with resveratrol. Now the same groundnuts, you put it in a machine, RPM beyond 10, of course the present day oil extractions run up to 3000 RPM also. So you have changed the pressure, you have changed the temperature. That resveratrol starts getting polymerized and is of no use for you afterwards. This is one example. There are many such cis-trans exchanges in fatty acids, omega-3, omega-6, all these wonderful nutrient oils that we get from nature are absolutely not there in the oils that you are presently using, the so-called plastic oils that you are all using.
Which oil is better?
All oils are good if you naturally produce them. Coconut oil is good, sesame seed oil is good, mustard oil is good, palm oil is also good if you produce properly. But then these are the problems we are facing in the name of giving materials to everyone. We have corporatized the food. So it is the corporatization which is the problem for food, nothing else. And that's why I keep telling in many of my lectures, please get back to your kitchen. So it is the food of the present day and it is the way we are eating is the source of all diseases. So human race has to be disease free. It can be actually, if only we educate ourselves in the right scientific way of our food. Of course, still now human race has not defined what food is at the behest of the corporate food culture, because they are encouraging you to take early morning Coke and donuts and pizza and burger, noodles and 24/7 palau, and no one is willing to talk about these things because it is corporatized. No one can talk. No one can talk. This is the story of the human race. You got to be scientific. Otherwise, we are producing 42% dysfunctional kids. And the whole experts are telling we are ballooning population. Where are we ballooning? There are no balloons. No Japanese, no Italians, no Americans, no Germans. Germans' average age is 50. That means there are no kids born. Who are you fooling? If at all there is any functional kids on this planet, only India. Some 36 crores or something like that. That's why all businesses are running, because they have no business elsewhere. Why are we still there 36 crores? Because we took time to adapt to these. But now we are started, I think we will outrun all these fellows. Next 10 years we will be having no kids. The fact that you have IVF centers popping up everywhere is a direct evidence of what I am speaking. Let's be all the time in evergreen revolutions. If your feed becomes millets, and millets have been the food of human gut, and millets will be the food of future. And the reason why is the doctor within the gut microbial health is fostered only when you eat millets. Millets, because of the insoluble fiber, deposits in your gut and enhances the gut microbial health. And without gut microbes, there is no health at all in any mammalian system, because it is the co-symbiotic working of the living cells of human body and the microbes that can make the miracles happen. And we have seen that miracles because we have healed paralysis, we have healed Alzheimer's, we have healed Parkinson's, we have healed all these so-called modern day diseases, blood cancer, brain tumors. So many doctors are hesitant to accept, oh, you may be able to cure diabetes, but not cancer. Absolutely irrelevant for me, the name of the disease. If you follow the health principles, there is no disease that cannot be eliminated. And it is, I am being very humble actually. If I am flamboyant, I would say like that. Just takes time because you have been addicted to the modern day food, which is not food, that is sugar and fat, gives you the highest addictive number. You can take a morphine's dose and get out of morphine de-addict, but sugar and fat together, once you are addicted, it will take lifetime for you to get out of it. Of course, cooking food in the mud pot is the best and most scientific way of cooking, because it doesn't accumulate pressure even under the lower layers of the food in the mud pot, because it has micro pores, releases the pressure as and when it creates. When you heat, the pressure is created by the weight of the material itself. Even that is released because if you cook it in the mud pot, STP is maintained. You are only increasing temperature, not pressure at any cost. So you can switch off the stove. If you want to cook then further, you put a lid, and that's called dum, Put a tie and then put it, seal it. Then you are cooking the food further with pressure. So either this or that. Don't do together, and that's what you are doing in your pressure cooker. So with so-called scientific mind, everyone is cooking their food in pressure cookers and thinking that they are following science. You are floating the fundamental principle of STP, a simple rule, physical rule. So please throw away your pressure cookers, then you are going to be better. Thank you very much.
ఈ వీడియో మీకు నచ్చితే లైక్ చేయండి, ఇతరులకు షేర్ చేయండి. వీడియోపై మీ అభిప్రాయాన్ని కామెంట్ రూపంలో తెలపండి. మరిన్ని వ్యవసాయ వీడియోల కోసం రైతు నేస్తం యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్ ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి. పక్కనే ఉన్న గంట సింబల్ నొక్కి నోటిఫికేషన్స్ ద్వారా తాజా వీడియోల సమాచారం పొందండి.